Hi, Alex. What are you doing after school? A bunch of us are going to see the new movie. Should we pick you up?
My cousin Jasmine was standing over my desk in class. Sounds fun, but I have soccer practice later. Rain check? Or you could come watch us. Jasmine gagged and shivered dramatically.
I'd rather watch paint dry. Sorry.
I laughed and pretended not to be offended by her comment. Jasmine didn't understand my fascination with soccer. I was the captain of the girls' soccer team at school. I couldn't imagine my life without playing. I was going to be a huge soccer star. After practice, I got home to find my older brother Josh waiting for me. Josh was a police officer.
I'm afraid I have some bad news. A few months ago, I applied for a captain's position in another station. They called today. I got the job.
Wow, congratulations, Josh. How's that bad news? He couldn't look me in the eye. Josh?
The job is out of state. We leave in a week.
No, my stomach dropped. Out of state? If we leave, I'll miss my chance of winning the Nationals. We are already in the quarterfinals. You're ruining my life. Hi, my name is Alex. I'm a girl, but for the most part of the story, I'll be a boy. I hope you enjoy watching. 2 weeks after we moved, I was riding my bike in a park nearby when I was hit on the head by a ball. It was a soccer ball. Great. I dribbled it past my bike, then kicked it.
Whoa! Where did you learn to dribble like that?
A boy my age stood a few meters away, 1 foot on the ball. He was tall. Really tall.
Well?
Huh? Oh, I used to play at the former school. I was the captain of my team.
Why don't you come join us? It'll be fun.
Sure, just for a few minutes. I'm Alex, by the way. Few minutes turned into 2 hours of pure bliss. A crowd had even gathered to watch and cheer. In the end, I scored 3 times.
That was unbelievable. Will you be starting at Green Hill High? We all go there.
Yeah, I just moved here.
Great. See you at school then.
I watched as he left with his friends, goofing around and laughing. That used to be my life.
Why didn't you tell me you're playing again?
Josh was leaning on my bedroom door. What are you talking about? He showed me a video of me playing in the park with Cole and his teammates. Wow, there's more than 1 million views on this.
Read the caption.
Local boy wows crowd with cool soccer skills. Boy? They think I'm a boy? Josh was doubled over laughing. I threw a pillow at him. School was going to be a nightmare. Here's a thought. I could avoid school altogether. I saw the coffee shop at the corner is hiring.
Haha, nice try. You'll go to school and you'll go as a girl. It probably won't be that bad.
Looking at the video, even I thought I was a boy. I'd been dressed for bike riding, baggy sweatpants, and my hair was fully covered in a beanie. I was about to post a comment and say I was not a boy when a thought crossed my mind. What if I didn't say anything? They'd just continue thinking I was a boy. I could join the team and play soccer with Cole at school. As a boy. A few days later, my mind was made up. I was going to become the boy in the video. First thing I did was go to the mall. I met a very cool shop assistant, Carly, who helped me shop for my boy clothes. I also bought sports bras 2 sizes smaller. Ouch. I then followed a step-by-step YouTube tutorial on how to cut your own hair. This was it. I was now Alex, the boy with impressive soccer skills. My first day of school went better than I'd expected. Nobody suspected a thing. I even used the boys' washroom and, yikes, never again.
Alex, hey, we're headed for practice. I can introduce you to the coach if you like.
I followed Cole, expecting to go to the field, but we walked into a room full of half-dressed boys. Of course he'd take me to the boys' locker room. Why wouldn't he?
Boys, look who's here.
I couldn't move. I think my jaw dropped a couple of times. I looked like a fish out of water. A few came and fist bumped me. I even got a couple of side hugs and several "see you out there's."
Did you bring your kit? You could change into something more comfortable.
Change in front of them? Why didn't I think of that when I so brilliantly turned myself into a boy? I forgot, sorry. Will that be a problem?
Not really. I'd lend you mine, but I'm a lot bigger than you.
I was blushing. I covered my cheeks with my hands and closed my eyes.
Are you feeling all right?
I'm nervous, I guess.
You don't have to meet the coach. It's your first day. I can introduce you another time.
I have to go, sorry. I ran out of there. Why did I ever think I could do this? I finally did meet the coach, who was very friendly. Except when it was time for practice and I was convinced she was trying to kill us. I loved every minute of it. I also solved my locker room problem by changing in my car. By the end of the week, I'd made it to the first team. We had a game that Saturday, which we won thanks to my 2 goals. Cole and I became good friends. He'd come over to my house after school and we'd practice for hours. One morning, just before first period, I opened my locker and a note fell out. I picked up the note and froze. "I know your secret. Tell or I will." The note was unsigned.
Alex, are you all right? You look like you've seen a ghost.
When did Cole get here? "I'm fine. See you at practice." I missed practice that day. The next few days were tough. Someone knew I was not a boy. How did they know? I felt like someone was watching me. My performance at games became very poor, and that worried Cole. I wished I could share my secret with him, but that would mean losing my slot in the team. I expected to receive more notes, but none came. Soon I was back to my old self. Well, my old boy self. One day, the coach told us that our school was among those selected to participate in a national soccer tournament. The winning team would get a shiny trophy and $500,000 from a soccer academy in Europe.
We've got this. We've got both Cole and Alex attacking. They won't know what hit them.
As coach addressed us, I realized I no longer missed my old team. I was happy here, and I'd do my best to win the tournament. "Your time is running out." I stared at my phone as I read the text over and over. I received it while at school. I guess the person who wrote the note was back. I needed to talk to Josh.
Who do you think is doing this?
I have no idea. "Josh, what do I do? I've already played 3 games in the tournament as a boy. If they find out I lied, the team will get disqualified." The thought of that made me want to die. They trusted me. Most of them had become my friends. Coach could lose her job. I'd been so selfish thinking I could keep my secret and enjoy playing in the team.
I'll talk to a colleague at the station. He can trace the texts.
As the tournament neared its end, I received 3 more texts. Josh still hadn't found out who was sending them. On the day of the final match, I was changing in my car when he called.
Alex, hey, glad I caught you before the game. I'm on my way to the stadium, but this can't wait.
"Josh, what is it?"
The texts, they came from a number registered to Cole.
"What? Cole knows?" Just then, there was a knock on my car window. I jumped and dropped my phone. "Cole, you scared me."
Sorry, Coach asked me to fetch you. She needs to talk to the team.
I picked up my phone and hung up on Josh. "I'll be right there. Let me finish changing."
Okay, Alexandra.
"What did you just call me?" Cole's face went white. "Oh my God, it's you! It's been you this whole time. You sent me those texts, didn't you? The note?"
What are you talking about? What texts? We need to go or we'll be late.
"Tell me."
Shouldn't I be the one who's angry? You've been lying to me, us, the whole time. Let's talk after the game.
With that, he walked away. I played so badly. By halftime, the coach was ready to bench me. However, Cole asked her to let me continue. She said I had 10 minutes to turn my game around. "Why did you do that? You could have just told her the truth."
Alex, Look, I don't know what's going on or why you did all this, but I need you to play, okay? We can still win this game, but we can't do it without you.
I was so confused. Why would Cole send me those texts, then beg me to play? Our talk at halftime did the trick. I scored 2 goals while he scored 1. When the final whistle was blown, Cole picked me up and spun me around. When he put me down, he looked embarrassed.
Sorry, got carried away.
We need to talk. After a few speeches, it was time for us to receive the trophy and the $500,000 check. Josh and Cole were next to me as our principal called out each of our names.
Alexandra Baker? Ah, sorry about that. That must be a typing error. Actually, it's not. Isn't that right, Alexandra?
Jenny was now on the podium standing next to the principal. There were a few murmurs as everyone looked at me. Cole held my hand.
Jenny, what are you doing?
Time to stop pretending, Cole. You knew Alex was a girl and you let her play for your team. You're the team captain. You should have reported it.
The principal looked mortified.
That's enough out of you, Miss Richards. We're here to celebrate our soccer team. I will not have you spread lies about any of them.
Jenny was looking right at me, challenging me to deny it. I stood up. Jenny is not lying. My name is Alexandra, and I am a girl. It's not a typing error. I'm sure Jenny made sure she typed it correctly. She is the principal's assistant after all. I heard a few gasps. The Academy representatives started to whisper amongst themselves. I couldn't take it. I ran out the back exit and locked myself in the washrooms.
Alex, open up, it's me!
Go away, Cole.
The ceremony just ended and there's a lot of students heading this way.
I couldn't hold the tears anymore. I opened the door and fell into Cole's arms.
Well, well, well. I should have known.
Go away, Jenny, haven't you done enough?
Me? What about her? She lied to the whole school.
Why are you doing this?
Don't look at me like I'm the monster here. How do you think it felt reading your diary? Does she even know how you feel about her?
Enough, Jenny, you win, now leave us alone.
Gladly, I wouldn't want to be seen with either of you after today.
This is my fault.
Come on, I'll take you home.
We took Cole's car home. Josh was there waiting.
Alex, where did you go? I looked everywhere for you.
How could I have been mad at my brother? Seeing the fear in his face made me feel so guilty. I was about to tell him how sorry I was when his phone rang.
I better answer this.
As Josh talked on the phone, I decided to confront Cole. You still haven't told me how you knew I was a girl. Cole smiled.
Remember when you went to the shop to buy boy clothes at the mall?
Oh God, do I want to know? He was now laughing.
The girl who assisted you, Carly, she's my sister. When she came home, she told me about you. She recognized you from the video.
Why didn't you tell anyone?
I loved having you around. In the team, I mean. We've had a great season.
What about the texts? Someone's been texting me saying they know my secret. Josh had his cop buddy trace them, and they led to your number.
I didn't send you any texts. I did lend Jenny my phone a few times, though.
Just then, Josh walked in.
That was the school. The academy is willing to hear your side of the story before they decide to award the money to the team. They've asked for a meeting with you tomorrow at the principal's office.
I arrived at the principal's office accompanied by Cole and Josh.
I believe you know why you're here, so why don't we just get right to it? Why did you misrepresent yourself?
I did it so I could play soccer. I transferred here this semester and was disappointed to learn that the school does not have a girls' soccer team. I love soccer, and my dream is to play professionally. I apologize for my actions. The team and the coach didn't know. Half an hour later, the meeting was over. The academy decided to award the trophy and the money to the team, but I was suspended for the rest of the semester. It was 2 weeks to graduation, so I wasn't going to miss much.
You can come for the graduation ceremony, but leave right after. Understood?
Alex, get out of here!
Josh and Cole were hanging out downstairs while I got ready for my date with Cole. Graduation was a week ago. Hey, what's up? Josh handed me a letter while Cole stared at me. He was still getting used to seeing me in a dress and makeup, I guess. Dear Miss Baker, we are pleased to inform you that... Josh, look! The letter is from the Academy in Europe. They're offering me a scholarship. I looked at both Josh and Cole and they were both smiling.
We know. I just got the same letter.
We both went to the same academy and had the best time. And that's the end of my story, I guess. Hope you enjoyed it.
Will you be my girlfriend, Stephanie?
Well,
Stephanie stammered. I took a deep breath and brought my hand up to my nose. Stephanie's face turned red. She knew what was about to happen. She knew I was about to sneeze. She shuddered and looked like she was going to burst into tears immediately. I took another breath and readied myself. I was almost sneezing.
Wait, I'll do it. I'll be your girlfriend.
I calmed down. I didn't sneeze. And just like that, I had a new, pretty girlfriend. Stephanie was not my first girlfriend. As a matter of fact, she was the 5th girl that I had dated this year. I got them to agree to be my girlfriends the same way I got them to agree to leave me whenever I wanted a new girlfriend. The last girl I dated was Amanda, and I broke up with her just yesterday when I decided that Stephanie was going to be my new girlfriend. Amanda, it's over between us.
Wait, why? Did I do something wrong? Why do you want to break up with me?
You did nothing wrong, Amanda. I'm just tired of you.
But we were just getting to know each other.
Amanda screamed. Yes, I bullied girls into dating me, but when they accepted, I always treated them nicely. I bought special, expensive gifts for them and took them to nice places that they could never afford to go to on their own. I was the only child of wealthy parents. They lavished me with money, and I used it to take care of my girlfriends. Because of this, they always felt sad when I wanted to leave them. I felt bad too, but I couldn't handle taking care of more than one girl at a time. So whenever I wanted to date a new girl, I left the old one. I took a deep breath and pretended like I was about to sneeze.
Fine.
Amanda screamed.
Don't sneeze. I accept it. It's over.
And with that, she stormed off. The next day, I moved on to my new prey, Stephanie. I'm sure you must think I'm the luckiest guy in the world, and you're wondering how I make people do whatever I want, simply by either sneezing or pretending I want to sneeze. Well, I'm about to tell you right now. So hit the like button if you've enjoyed this story so far. Subscribe to this channel immediately and turn on post notifications so you don't miss any story from us. My name is Graham, and I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was only 3 years old. For those that don't know what epilepsy is, it's a sickness that makes me fall on the floor and start shaking and vibrating, even bleeding from my nostrils sometimes. I look like I'm about to die whenever it happens, and this freaks everybody out. As years went by, the epileptic attacks reduced and started happening only when I sneezed. My parents talked to our family doctor about it, and she told them to try to reduce the frequency of my sneezes by removing me from situations that triggered it. So I had to avoid dusty places, kitchens, cold places, and even meals that were too spicy. My parents did their best, but I still sneezed once in a while because it was natural. Whenever this happened, an emergency injection would be stabbed right into my heart, and my mom would cry since she didn't know if I was going to survive. My parents could never get pregnant again after having me. I was the only one who could continue the family name and business, so they raised me like an egg. Whenever I felt like I was about to sneeze, my parents ran around like mad people doing everything possible to ensure I didn't sneeze. I got whatever I asked for, no matter how selfish or ridiculous it seemed. After noticing this, I started asking for more stuff. I asked for a car, a personal driver, bodyguards, all the latest Apple products, and so many other expensive things that working class adults couldn't afford. My parents gave me everything, as long as I promised to try not to sneeze. This made me feel powerful. My pride rose to an unreasonable level, and one day I realized I could make everyone do my bidding, just like my parents. I decided to test this theory in class the next day. When Mr. Speaks, my English teacher, told me to come to the front of the class and read out my badly written English essay, I said no. He insisted and told me that he was going to give me detention if I refused. I took a deep breath and put my hands above my nose, getting ready to sneeze. At this time, nobody in the school knew about my condition apart from my principal, so they all stared at me wondering why I was trying to sneeze. Achoo! I sneezed with all the power I had in me. My powerful sneeze triggered my epileptic attack, and with a heavy thud, I landed on the floor. My classmates jumped up from their desks. Mr. Speaks went,
What?
He couldn't believe what had just happened.
Did Graham really just trigger an epileptic episode? Does he want to kill himself?
He asked, amazed. Nobody answered him because they were all running around me, trying whatever they could to help bring me back. The nurse was called, so she stabbed something into my heart, and I was well again. Everyone hugged me and told me they were glad I was back. They all looked so worried. I smiled mischievously because I knew that I had cracked the code. I knew the trick to ruling the whole school now. I knew it. I was a king. This was when I blew it out of proportion. I was wealthy and obsessed with power, so I acted accordingly. I became a brat and the school bully. I forced everyone to do whatever I wanted, teachers and students alike. I forced girls to date me, changing them up as I deemed fit. On the off chance that someone disobeyed my order, which was usually very rare, I would forcefully sneeze. My sneezes were mostly fake these days. As a result, they didn't always trigger the epileptic response I desired. Whenever this happened, I would simply fake it, giving the little kids around me a lifetime scare. One day, I was hanging out in the school park with my latest girlfriend, Stephanie. She was telling me how happy she was about the iPhone 13 I gave her as a birthday gift, and how she had been able to make money on Instagram because of the high-quality pictures she'd been posting lately, when Mark, the info giver, called me to the side and gave me some news. We called him Mark, the info giver, because he always knew the latest thing about what was happening in school. I don't know how he did it, but he was the first person to know about whatever went down in school. Sometimes even before the school authorities. Mark didn't give his information for free, though. He always gave it in exchange for money, but he was scared of me, so he never asked me for money unless I volunteered to give him some. I was so stunned by what Mark told me this time that I didn't volunteer any cash. He looked sad, but I couldn't care less. "You can leave now," I told him. Mark scrambled off.
Thank you,
he mumbled as he ran off.
What is it, honey?
Stephanie asked. I ignored her and walked towards the principal's office. I was fuming. Mark told me that my parents were invited by the principal, and they were in her office at that very moment talking about me. I got to the principal's office and opened the door slightly, but nobody noticed my presence. I heard their voices, and Mark was right.
I can't believe this!
my father bellowed.
Why will he behave this way? What have we done wrong? We have given him everything he's ever wanted. Why?
I'm sorry, sir, but we are considering expelling your son. Students have been complaining that he is making their lives a living hell. Parents have threatened to withdraw their kids from our school because of him.
My mother started shedding tears.
I can't believe this.
She cried.
Don't expel him, please. Give us some time.
My dad begged.
What do you plan to do?
My principal asked.
Well, we will ignore him the next time he tries to sneeze. And even when he actually sneezes, we will still pay him no heed.
My dad replied.
When he realizes that his tactics are no longer working, he will be forced to change his ways. I suggest that you guys do the same thing here.
My principal pondered.
Are you sure this is a good idea? If we start ignoring him, how will he know when he has a real attack?
My dear mom asked.
I don't think Graham has had an attack that wasn't self-induced in years.
My principal interjected. At this point, I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't believe that these people, my own parents, were plotting against me, planning to ignore their own son. I stormed into my principal's office and screamed, "You guys are all evil! You neither love nor care about me. I have always suspected this. You all hate me, don't you?"
No, Graham. That's not true.
My mom pleaded. But I wasn't going to listen to her. I wasn't going to listen to any of them anymore. I started running away from the office, but as I ran, it felt like an invisible force went around my leg and pulled me to the floor. I landed with a thud. My chest contracted and I couldn't breathe anymore. My eyes went up my skull and my hands and feet started pointing in the wrong directions. As I started convulsing, I realized that I really hadn't had a real epileptic attack in years, so I had forgotten just how terrible and painful it really felt. Tears left my eyes as I figured out just how stupid I had been, playing with something that was life or death. I tried to call out to my sweet mom for help, but no words left my mouth, only sounds of gargling and undescribable pain. "Mom," I screamed in my mind, "help me." But my lips formed no words and no one came to my help. I cried in pain. I had fallen right beside the principal's office door so they could still see me, yet no one came to help me. I knew it was all my fault. They thought I was pretending. Why wouldn't they? I hoped they would come and check on me, just to confirm, but no one came. Not my parents, not the principal. Instead, they just laughed out loud and continued their discussion like nothing happened. I couldn't believe it. This was real. This was happening to me. I was going to die, and my parents were going to watch me die because of my stupidity. When I started bleeding from my nostrils, my mother got worried and wanted to come help me.
Sweetheart, I think we should check on Graham. He's been there for too long. He just started bleeding and I'm no longer comfortable.
She told my dad.
It's fine.
My dad said.
Our boy is just such a good actor. He will stop when he sees that no one is paying attention to him at all.
My energy had left me, and I could no longer fight it. I embraced the peace and quiet. I knew that this was the last time I was going to see my parents. So, as I took one last glance at them, I whispered, "I love you guys." The words didn't come out, but I just wanted to believe that they would hear me in their own minds. The last thing I saw before I closed my eyes was my mom racing towards me. I knew she would come, but it was already too late. I stepped into the light, and I was gone. I woke up in the hospital 1 week later to find my mom, my dad, my principal, Stephanie, and our family doctor, Dr. Chambers, all looking down at me with smiles on their faces. I couldn't believe it. I didn't die. I was alive. "Mom!" I tried to scream.
Yes, honey?
She smiled.
Don't stress yourself, okay? You'll be fine.
"What happened?" I asked.
I'm so sorry, my boy. We thought you were faking it.
My dad cried.
We will never ignore you again, ever.
I know, Dad. You shouldn't be sorry. I should. I was out of control. I never knew how my actions were affecting others. I just wanted to have everything I wanted, and I did it through bullying instead of hard work. I'm very sorry, and I'll never go back to my old ways. Please, forgive me, I begged.
We forgive you, my son. When we saw that you weren't moving, we immediately rushed you to the hospital. Dr. Chambers said it might not be able to revive you, but she and the other doctors would try all they could. Here we are, 1 week later. Thank you so much, Dr. Chambers. Thank you for saving our son.
My dad turned and shook our family doctor's hands.
It was a team effort, sir. Always a pleasure.
Dr. Chambers replied with a huge grin on his face. Stephanie ran and hugged me.
I'm so glad you didn't die, honey.
Stephanie, you're here? You still want to date me? But I've been so bad.
Of course I want to date you. Even though you were a bully, you always cared. You took care of all your girlfriends properly and you gave them whatever they needed, even when it was to your own detriment. I was going to leave our school because of you before, but after hearing that you almost died, I realized that I actually do love you. I believe that you have really changed after this near-death experience, and I'm willing to give you a chance to prove yourself.
Wow, Stephanie, I love you too. After this experience, I changed for the good. What did you learn from my story? Have you ever bullied someone? Have you ever been bullied yourself? What did you learn from your experience? Share it with us in the comments section below. Like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications, and watch the next video on our channel. Bye. I loved college. I especially loved this college because it was hundreds of miles from my home. It's not that I hated my home or my parents. It's just that I never really experienced freedom until I went away to college. I was in my second year and I still couldn't believe this was my life. I could date as many girls as I wanted to. I could go to parties and stay out all night. My life was pretty much perfect at this point. What more could a guy my age ask for? Turns out, a lot more. This is a story of how the winds of good fortune blew my way, but unfortunately blew away good sense on their way out. Stick around and find out how too much money, bad company, and bad decisions almost cost me my parents.
I can't believe Lisa went home with Pete last night. She was giving me eyes all night.
My roommate Jake thought every girl on campus wanted him. Next time, ask her to give you her number, not just her eyes. I stifled a yawn. Advanced calculus was no way to start a Monday. An email notification pinged on my phone and I absent-mindedly opened it. Dear Mr. Summers, we're delighted to inform you that you're the lucky winner of... I shot up from my seat and sent my books flying across the floor.
Matt, are you okay?
I gotta go. I ran out of the classroom. This couldn't be. When did I even buy a lottery ticket? I was now back in our dorm room.
Matt, are you in here? Dude, you scared everyone in class. You ran out like you saw a ghost.
Jake, I just won millions of dollars.
What? No way! Who told you?
I handed him my phone with the email open.
You won the freaking lottery?
I did. I need to go home and tell my parents. I can't wait to see the surprise on their faces.
Can I go with you? There's no way I'm missing their reaction.
A long drive and lots of outrageous investment ideas later, we arrived at my parents' house. As soon as Mom opened the door, I blurted out, "Mom, I won the lottery. We are rich."
And I'm the Queen of England. What are you doing here, Matt?
Jake burst out laughing. "I'm serious, Mom, look." I handed her my phone.
Patrick, get out here, oh dear Lord.
The rest of the evening was a roller coaster of emotions. We laughed and we cried. Mom made my favorite roast chicken and Dad opened his most expensive bottle of whiskey. My parents thought it was best that I return to college and continue with classes. The next day, Jake and I said our goodbyes and I promised to call them as soon as I decided what to do with the money or if I needed their advice.
You aren't actually planning to stay in school, right? Dude, you're a millionaire now. You don't need school.
My parents used all their savings to send me to college. I kind of owe them.
So write them a check.
It's not that simple. Or was it? By the time the lottery money was deposited into my bank account, I had made a decision to drop out of college. I didn't tell my parents, but I'd tell them as soon as I had a viable business idea. A month went by and I still had not spoken to my parents. I was living in my newly rented, fully furnished, fully serviced apartment. Jake came over with different girls every day. We ordered food and drinks and partied for days, all on my tab. Life was good. It was during one of those parties when the building manager informed me that several noise complaints had been lodged against me, and he was there to issue an eviction notice. But I haven't received any warning letters.
Your roommate picked them for you on his way up.
I don't have a roommate.
Sure you do. Jake Marino? Matt, what? Oh, hi Daniel.
Jake, I'm being kicked out. Where are the letters you picked up downstairs?
Oh, those letters. They're somewhere in here. I didn't know there were warning letters. Come on, Daniel. Is there nothing you can do? I'm afraid not. Matt has to clear out by Sunday. Sorry, gentlemen.
I was livid. Jake, I need everyone out, now.
Whatever, man. Let's go, ladies. I guess the millionaire is tired of us peasants.
As soon as I was alone, I called my parents. Mom, hey, could you get Dad and put me on speaker? I need to talk to you. So I told them everything. I told them about dropping out of school and about my new lifestyle. They were silent for so long. I thought they'd hang up on me. Finally, my dad spoke.
We can't say we understand why you dropped out of school, but it's not too late. You can still go back.
But I don't want to, Dad. If this is about the money you spent, I'll pay you back.
How could you say that? We don't care about the money. Matt, the reason we want you to stay in college is because we feel you're too young to handle that kind of money. College will give you time to grow up. The money is not going anywhere, son.
I'm not a child. I don't need you or anyone telling me what to do. As soon as I hung up, I knew I'd gone too far. I called them back to apologize, but they didn't answer. I moved out of the apartment and booked myself into a hotel. I missed my parents and I hated not hearing from them. I wished they'd call me. Instead, when my phone rang a few days later, it was Jake calling.
Hi, Matt. I'm really sorry for how we left things. I realize you may not want to speak to me, but please hear me out. I have a cousin who runs a truck company. I spoke to him about you and he wants to meet you and make you an offer. If you'd like, I'll take you to him.
Jake, this is not a good time.
Matt, please don't hang up. I'm really sorry for what I did. Can we at least meet and talk?
I was still mad at Jake, but if I was being honest, I too was to blame for the direction my life was taking. I gave Jake the name of my hotel and he showed up an hour later.
Hey, Matt. I'm truly sorry I didn't tell you about the letters and for what I said. I guess I've been kind of jealous and it made me act out. We cool?
Yeah, I guess. Now, what were you saying about your cousin?
I'd rather you hear it from him. Let's go.
We met him at a bar in a seedy part of town. The moment we walked in, I felt a little unsafe. Jake, on the other hand, looked right at home. A couple of girls even winked at him.
Hi, you must be Matt. I'm Mike, Jake's cousin. Please have a seat.
Mike went straight to business. He told me that his company transported fresh produce from a supplier in a neighboring country to local markets. According to him, he'd recently won a tender to supply fresh vegetables to a chain of restaurants. This is where I'd come in. What do you need from me?
All my trucks are engaged elsewhere, so it's really simple, Matthew. All you have to do is join my company as a shareholder, then buy 5 trucks and start making money. You don't even need to involve yourself with the logistics. Just get 5 trucks and I'll do the rest.
What's in it for you? Mike laughed.
Haha, you're a smart one. Well, I'll charge a commission for every truckload of produce delivered. It's a small amount compared to what you'll be making. I have the papers ready. You can see the figures, then we can sign right here. Slow down, Mikey. Give the guy some time to digest. I'm sure he wants to call his parents too. We can meet tomorrow, right, Matt?
Right. I need to think about it.
I thought you said he was a sure thing.
Mike looked angry. I just need to call my parents.
Maddie, if you're going to be calling mommy and daddy every time we have a deal, then I don't think you're the right partner. You need to be your own boss from now on. Otherwise, the deal is off.
Mike had seemed so friendly, but now he was getting angrier by the minute.
Calm down, Mike. He'll call you tomorrow. You're letting him speak for you?
Before I could answer, a man in an expensive dark suit walked in. He was flanked by 2 men in similar suits and dark sunglasses. The man was older than everyone else at the table. When Mike and Jake saw him, they stood up immediately. The man introduced himself as Arthur, Mike's legal advisor. He handed me a stack of papers and asked me to read. By the end of the evening, I was sold. 3 weeks later, I was a minority shareholder in Mike's company. I had an office and a secretary. My fleet of 5 trucks was about to make their first delivery of fresh vegetables. I also bought a house. Life was good. Except I hardly spoke to my parents now. I told them about my new venture, but they didn't sound enthusiastic about it. I wrote them a check, and when they failed to cash it, I booked a flight to go see them. When I arrived, nobody was home. The grass and flower beds looked unkempt. There was an envelope taped to the front door addressed to me. Inside was a letter from my mom saying that they decided to move away. The letter said that ever since I won the lottery, the town had become inhospitable, and they were no longer happy living there. She also asked that I don't look for them because they preferred a quiet and private life, and my new status interfered with that. I fell to my knees and cried. My parents had left me. A few weeks after the visit to my parents, a woman approached me at the grocery store. She identified herself as a government agent and asked to speak to me privately. I followed her to a dark SUV parked in an alleyway. Ma'am, what's this about?
Mr. Summers, when was the last time you spoke to your parents?
At the mention of my parents, my blood went cold. It's been a few weeks. I went to see them, but they weren't home. Did something happen to them?
I'm afraid I have some bad news, Matthew.
What she told me next was shocking. She told me that I had unknowingly been recruited into an illegal operation. Jake and Mike were actually brothers, not cousins, and Arthur was their father and the leader of a notorious cartel. The company they convinced me to join was a front for illegal business. I couldn't think straight, but I swear I don't know anything.
We know that. We've been watching you for weeks and we've concluded that you're not involved in any illegal activities.
What does this have to do with my parents?
Jake and his father's men kidnapped your parents.
What? Why would he do that? Where are they now? Are they alive?
We have recordings of Mike and Arthur planning to ask you to buy more trucks. If you say no, they plan to blackmail you by threatening your parents.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. If you know who took my parents, why haven't you arrested them?
We don't want to get your parents killed by being careless. We need your help, Matthew. We need you to plant a tracking device on Jake's car. We need you to call him and request a meeting.
I agreed to do what the agent asked. I called Jake and lied that my car broke down, so he picked me up from the store. When he dropped me off at home, I left the tracker hidden in his car. It was dark when my phone rang. It was the agent informing me that the tracker had led them right into Jake's hideout. They'd rescued my parents and arrested Jake and his men. I was overwhelmed with relief, but also feared that my parents would never forgive me. The reunion with my parents was a tearful one. They told me all about how Jake had knocked on their door and informed them that I'd been in an accident. He told them I was there to take them to the hospital I was admitted at. Only when they got in his car, they found two men in disguises. Jake told them that if they wanted to see me ever again, they'd do everything he asked. Jake was the one who left the letter on the front door.
He's been holding them in one of your father's warehouses.
The agent told me that I wouldn't face any criminal charges, but my bank accounts would be frozen due to my association with criminals. Also, it'd be months before I'd be allowed access to my trucks. A few months and 1 year after winning the lottery, I was back in college. My parents moved and were now living in my house, which was still mine because I'd bought it with the lottery money. I was in class when my phone rang. I didn't recognize the number, but I answered the call anyway. This is Matt.
Good afternoon, this is Agent Boris. I'm calling to inform you that your trucks have been cleared. I just need you to sign some paperwork before we release them to you.
When I arrived at the yard where the trucks were being held, I found Boris with a few agents and an older man I'd never seen before.
Matt, meet Mr. Montero. Mr. Montero was the supplier of the vegetables and fruits Jake and his family were transporting. He had no idea of their illegal dealings, and he's here as a witness to the case.
After the introduction, Mr. Montero informed me that he was looking for a new transporter and asked if I was willing to form my own truck company. I called my parents immediately. This time, they picked up. It was time to make good use of my fortune.